committee, because without their efforts, this would not have been at all possible. And those gentlemen are William Morton, Christopher Luck, and Deacon Peter McGecky. And please join me in a round of applause to thank them. The diocese holds this annual dinner in November to follow a tradition of using the months of the bishop's birthday for such events, but not simply to celebrate the bishop's birthday, but because this is November, to put the focus of Thanksgiving on those whom we honor as members of the class of 2011 with the St. Joseph the Worker Award. And tonight we honor the mission and work of another dynamic and diverse class of individuals and organizations with the award, and those people and organizations are the following. Canon Michael Bonnet of the Evangelical Catholic Diocese of the Northwest, the Chicago Children's Advocacy Center, Cicero Township Democratic Committeeman Charles Hernandez, as we already know, Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, Professor David F. Ramachidi of the University of Phoenix, Illinois State Senator Kwame Raoul, Reverend Rodney Reinhardt of the Episcopal Diocese of Chicago, Calumet Township Supervisor Rose Rita, Calumet City Mayor Michelle Markowitz Qualkenbush, Service Employees International Union Local 73 of Chicago, and Illinois State Representative Karen Yarborough. The collective works of these individuals and organizations has and continues to be, in the words of our bishop, to build up and enhance the quality of life within the kingdom of God here on earth. And with no further ado, I bring to you the bishop, and I'm happy to say my dear cousin, for awarding tonight's events.
I think I'm going to start a new tradition. We're going to start a little bit earlier so I can engage and have more time with the sauerkraut and sausage. It's so nice to be on the north side and have delicacies from home. As I began to say with my remarks about President Preckwinkle, there are many people who truly give of themselves unconditionally. And they do so not for any kind of self-grandizement, but because they see a need in society and they want to fill it. Tonight, I'm going to ask your indulgence, because what I want to do is I want to speak my truth a little bit. And my truth is that during these summer months, I was a little under the weather. And I had an opportunity to get my money's worth from my Comcast cable. Now, I may not be the brightest bulb in the pack. And I might be a little slow on the uptake from time to time. But ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen a train wreck before as much as I've seen with some of the programming. And being from the far southeast side, I'm going to mention names. If I hear the name Kardashian one more time in that, I think I'm going to wind up back in Christ Hospital for another bypass. Bridezilla, What Not to Wear, The A-List, Snooki and New Jersey. Okay, thank you. But the common denominator, ladies and gentlemen, is that what I'm seeing celebrated and what I'm seeing sort of reinforced upon society as a whole is not the positive. It is watching people, whether they're scripted or not, demonstrating how dysfunctional, how irrational, narcissistic, and plain boorish that the human family can become. And the more I tried surfing the dial to find something that would counter it, I found that there was more things that depressed me rather than encouraged me. But what has helped me in recent months is focusing on the dinner. Focusing on the men and women and the organization our community has chosen to honor. Because unfortunately, we don't have any reality shows about the work of our honorees. We don't have any kind of way to really and truly inform the public that there's something more going on in society than dysfunctionality. So in many ways, you all of the class of 2011, along with previous class members, are individuals that do give me hope. And before I forget, not only, this is a very rare night for us. This is a night in which not only do we have our honorees, but we have 3 individuals here from previous classes whom we have honored, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce themselves. One happens to be the wife, and as I always say, the better half of one of our honorees. I'd like to introduce Representative Elizabeth Hernandez. And from last year, we have with us a gentleman who has been a strong inspiration, not only to me, but many who are pursuing the cause of civil rights in our country, Rick Garcia. And a group of individuals who are sitting in the corner making sure that I laugh and relax, but Dean Ackey and the Rescue Riders are back in the This is sort of now what I call the interactive part of our time together. And that is when we have to make a commitment amongst ourselves as to what can we do to start turning the tide of all the negativity and all the forces in our society that overshadow the good work, especially the good work of those who are being honored tonight and past recipients. It's a question that's very difficult to answer. But we have come forward because every so often I have to remind myself that things are getting better. And despite what we see in the news, the state of Illinois has indeed come forward in a number of areas. We have grown in the area of civil rights and equality for all people. And most importantly, from not only a personal, but from a religious perspective, we no longer have the death penalty in the state of Illinois. Two of our honorees tonight played a significant role in lifting the state of Illinois out of, in many ways, the dark ages and putting us on the road forward that will, I hope, serve as a model to other states who are still struggling with the issue as to whether or not to retain the death penalty on their books. And because I am a committed and terminal Chicagoan and son of Illinois, I am hoping that the Illinois example will bear fruit across the rest of our national family. The first who we are honoring, especially for his role in ending the death penalty, is State Senator Kwame Raoul. I profoundly believe that it takes a tremendous amount of courage to advocate something in which one knows that there is someone who opposes just as much as one advocates. And sometimes the opposition, through whatever behavior or whatever techniques or whatever rhetoric, can steal the thunder, can take the message and twist it, turn it, and pervert it. This has not been the case, because the senator has consistently argued for the repeal of the death penalty in ways and in language that is very difficult for a rational person to counter. I don't think that there is a person in the room who would say that if the execution of another person would bring back someone who has died from violence, if that were possible, we would not be having this discussion right now. But given the fact that as imperfect as the system goes, we are discovering more and more people every day with scientific advancement, people who are in prison and have been wrongly convicted and are facing the death penalty. This is not something you can turn around. This is not a mistake that you can correct. And if it saves one innocent life, then there's no argument in opposition to it. Not only has the senator been very much involved in moving us forward away from the death penalty, but his other legislative activities, especially in the State Pension and Investment Committee, will ensure that people who are preparing for their retirement will have a retirement when that time comes. I realize that in recognizing the work in eliminating the death penalty can be a little controversial, and some might say that religious communities have no right to make their opinion on it. I say they're wrong. So it is with great pride as a son of Illinois to see that our state has made a quantitative leap forward, in part by this action. Our community is very pleased to honor with the St. Joseph the Worker Award State Senator Kwame Raoul.
The bishop mentioned earlier collective work. As I told my partner in this, Representative Yarbrough, for those of you all who watched the Bears in 1985, I was a little bit of a refrigerator Perry in this movement, where they handed me the ball on the 1 yard line, and after they drove the ball 99 yards, there are a lot of people who over years contributed to the effort to abolish the death penalty. But the important thing is I am honored to be honored tonight, and it's important for us to celebrate momentarily. But it's important for us to recognize that our work is not done. For not more than 2 weeks after Karen and I passed the abolition of the death penalty, were there 2 bills introduced to reinstate the death penalty in the state of Illinois. And as the bishop mentioned, part of the arguments we made were those who have been exonerated, who were put on death row for crimes they did not commit. And if you think about the investment that we made to make sure after George Ryan what's the word I'm looking for? Commuted the sentences. All these reforms were made. This investment was made to make sure we didn't get it wrong, and we got it wrong again. We had people implicating themselves on videotape to crimes they did not commit. To the extent that they were doing so in capital cases after we invested all that money, after we made the reforms, guess what? We've sent a lot of people to prison for crimes they did not commit. So our work is not done.
One would think that after all these years I'd be smart enough to get contact lenses, but I just for some reason have, my vanity will not let me do it. Our state would not be free of the death penalty unless Senator Raoul did not have the support and help of a colleague in the Illinois House of Representatives. And that is why tonight we are also honoring State Representative Karen Yarborough for her work in bringing about an end to the death penalty in Illinois. There are, if you listen to the media and you allow the media to dictate the story, one would think that the death penalty cause is the only thing that the representative has advocated, and that is simply not the case.